Well, hello, everybody. How are you doing? Chief Meteorologist Andrew Panero here. Welcome. Yes, it's a little bit late, but we're not going to go long. We're actually going to end shorter than I would have normally anyway. Here's everybody. No gaming tonight, just a little weather discussion, a little informational piece. Let's see. Yes, Raymond, and welcome. It was definitely messy Saturday. And I think it was Massachusetts. I was watching. They had tornado warnings. But yeah, the tornadoes were not in, as I was joking with you, the Jersey Dixie Alley. They were a bit more into New England. And yes, that was. All right. So tonight we're gonna start with a little discussion as to why has the Atlantic hurricane season gone quiet? Very quiet. I'm sure both of you have been watching, and there's nothing going on out there. It's very calm. So let's switch on over. There we go. To a couple of articles here. And a video. I actually have a video that I'm allowed to play from YouTube for you because no copyright on this video. All right. Ooh, making snow depth map. Huh. You're using Python. Very interesting with that. All right, so from CNN meteorologist Chris Dolce is how I believe the name would be. Why Atlantic hurricane season has gone silent. Atlantic hurricane season has hit a September speed bump. So normally, and it says it in here, September 10th is known as the peak of hurricane season. But it's quiet. June is when the 6-month-long season begins, and the true bulk of hurricane activity occurs from mid-August through September. Yeah, right in the middle is September 10th, which is statistically the high point of the season. It is September 9th, so tomorrow being the 10th. There's nothing out there. An active tropical storm or hurricane has roamed somewhere in the Atlantic on that date in roughly 3/4 of 76 years. That's quite a weird way to say that. Tracked by NOAA. And Delvin, I have not, if you want to share that in the chat. Yes, I'm in alignment with Raymond. The Atlantic is pitching a shutdown on its official peak this year. A feat last happened in 2016. So a September typical occurrence. More happened in the middle there. And also just look at the curve. And there's Puerto Rico right there. That's part of this study I'm doing about hurricanes traveling north of Puerto Rico, over Puerto Rico, or south of Puerto Rico. Yes, it would be quite a feat for snow to happen right now in New York City. A couple other points in here. Much of the Atlantic Basin has plenty of warmer than average water, which the warmer than average water is the fuel for a hurricane. Hurricane Aaron took advantage of that warmth, becoming one of the fastest strengthening Atlantic hurricanes on record when it hit Category 5 status in mid-August. Philadelphia, looks like you are preparing ahead of time. So, what's different here? Wind shear. That is something to consider here. So we have favorable conditions with the wind shear. Changes in speed and direction at different levels of the atmosphere also tends to be at the lowest at this point. So that's why it's most favorable. Shear can rip apart fully developed hurricanes and tropical storms. September is also when areas of showers and thunderstorms from Western Africa make the trek westward toward the Caribbean. So let's point out that shear right now, too. So with that shear in mind, what is something that we would look at for a predictor of shear? ENSO, El Nino Southern Oscillation. Oh, you want me to look it up? Well, it won't be right here. So, I have a satellite image too I captured, a visible satellite of about the same time of Hurricane Aaron. And it was very, very textbook hurricane. The next thing I wanted to bring up here, now I'm talking about the wind shear. El Nino and La Nina, their influence on the hurricane season. So El Nino and La Nina significantly affect the hurricane season by altering wind shear in the Atlantic Ocean. And no, but this one didn't have the graphic. This is the part here. Conversely, during La Nina does not guarantee. That's a weird way to say that. Conversely, during La Nina does not guarantee that each storm will be strong. Favorable conditions like warm water and moisture will still affect this. So, are we in a La Nina or an El Nino right now? We were in a La Nina. I actually just looked this up just before this stream. So let's keep these in mind. El Nino, La Nina. And go over here. Climate.gov. Final La Nina advisory as of April 10th. So this is the most up-to-date one. After just a few months of La Nina conditions, the tropical Pacific is now ENSO neutral. And forecasters expect neutral to continue through the northern hemisphere summer, meaning the solstice to the end of September. All right. So why is it such a big deal? I'm pretty confident, Raymond and Delvin, you may know what El Nino is and La Nina. But for anybody that's new, that may be watching now or watching after the fact, what is ENSO? El Nino Southern Oscillation is shortened to ENSO. So in El Nino, right around here in the Pacific Ocean, we have warmer than normal ocean water. So that means we get storms popping up over here, and to compensate for that, we get a lot of shear happening over here. Dry sinking air. So this shear that's created over here with this dry sinking air creates battles that happen in the atmosphere for hurricanes. It's like a pinball machine. There's so many little barriers that the pinball is trying to get through that it rips apart the hurricane. Now, during La Nina, it's cooler than normal, the ocean temperatures there. Now, with that happening, that means there's less shear happening in the Caribbean area, so that means storms can develop easier. Yes. Oh, I definitely do agree with that. with very little hurricane activity in the Northeast, whether it's the U.S. or Canada. Specifically New York City, because New York City's in a very prime position to get deep flooding if a storm hits just right. People do get complacent. All right, so there's a brief overview of El Nino and La Nina from this graphic. And also, I went down a little bit more here. So, El Nino, we have a more flat jet stream, drier conditions, and it's more neutral in our area there. But what that means here is less bumpy. Typical La Nina winter, we have a deeper ridge or a deeper trough with the jet stream. Wetter, but we are neutral, so we're going to get a little bit of a mix of both of those. So maybe a little wetter and not necessarily warmer or colder, but about average. So that could be what we expect. And the last thing I'll show you down here was this video, which is not there. I don't know why. Now this on YouTube is from NOAA. The government cannot claim copyright. So I am good to talk about this. Oh, they put a little tag down here. United Nations, climate change refers to long-term shifts in temperature and weather patterns. Human activity has been the main driver of climate change, primarily due to the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. Wow, they put a fact check on YouTube. All right. Yes, we'll talk about drought in a second. All right, so let's make sure this is back up here. Let's discuss this. And my audio is not moving. Why is my audio there we go. Okay. It's almost like my finger was stuck. All right, 2-minute video.
El Nino is the warm water phase of the El Nino Southern Oscillation, the most influential climate pattern used in seasonal forecasting.
During El Nino, ocean temperatures over the Pacific begin to warm up. Surface winds weaken and rainfall increases over the central or eastern Pacific while decreasing over Indonesia. Warmer oceanic and atmospheric conditions in the central and eastern Pacific fuel the jet stream. Because the central and eastern Pacific is warmer than normal during an El Nino, the jet shifts eastward with this energy source. A stronger eastward shifted jet stream favors low pressure in the Gulf of Alaska, higher pressure over western Canada, and lower pressure over the southeastern United States. This type of influence
Omega
from one
block.
region to another over large parts of the globe is referred to as a teleconnection. During winter, El Nino is generally associated with wetter than average conditions across the southern tier and drier than average conditions in the Pacific Northwest, the Northern Rockies, and the Ohio Valley. We typically observe below average temperatures across the southeastern United States and warmer than average conditions over the northern part of the country.
Weather is what we experience every day. But remember, climate predictions based on El Nino tell us what kind of weather to expect on average and over a long period of time. From NOAA's Climate Prediction Center, I'm Ned Gardner.
Climate.gov. Okay. So, still full screen. That was there. Now going back to here. Typical La Nina and an El Nino. So we were in La Nina. we're just about to approach this neutral phase. So, Delvin say, what is it? Nighttime lows of 50 degrees. More interesting than anything, whatever happens south. Okay, well, El Nino is affecting that. Colder air, a bit more north, because the jet stream is allowed to head up a bit more north in a La Nina, with that blocking high right there. So that polar jet stream brings in a bit more colder weather, which is exactly where we're getting these temperatures. So colder before, but now we're switching a bit more neutral. So we don't have the polar pattern anymore. So that's breaking down. That's allowing a little bit more warmer air to filter back in. So we're kind of in between that and that. Delvin, that will be another stream. All right. So that's a bit of an explanation with the El Nino and why we'd be seeing some variable temperatures, like you were saying in Ottawa. Low 80s? You mean like the overnight low is 80? Or the temperature right now? Oh, you said up there at the moment. Yeah, because that La Nina's starting to break, so we're getting the warmer air starting to come in. So this would be the setup going to at least the next month. So this warming happening as we're heading into ENSO neutral conditions, more north, may mean we could still see some storms. We're not out of the woods just yet with the hurricane season. So we will keep that in mind. I did notice around New York City some coastal flood advisories here, but that was really about it. Jersey Shore had some. Nothing going into New England. Ooh, what was this one? Nothing. Oh, Patchy Frost. There it is. Day 2 through 7. Patchy Frost. We're heading into there already. A bit more there. Nothing. Nothing. Around the Jersey Shore, coastal flood advisories. Going up into Canada, it looked like there wasn't too much happening. Even with all the fires, it looks like it's better than it was. There's a couple of things in here. What do we got? Got a statement going on. Oh, I don't want a definition. No alerts. Okay, so it's just a weather statement. What is this? There are no severe thunderstorm warnings posted up there. Oh, they are over there. That over here. Let's take a peek on a radar scope here. It looks like there's still a severe thunderstorm watch. What we got? 14 hours. Oh, I didn't realize they last that long. Yes, Raymond. That is a big area for a warning. I guess that's how them Canadians do it. Severe thunderstorm warning. Okay. It's also a little long. 2.5 hours for a severe thunderstorm warning. All right, let's see. Environment Canada meteorologists are tracking a line of severe storms capable of producing strong winds, wind gusts up to nickel-sized hail, and heavy rain. 30 kilometers west of Creston is moving slowly northward at 10 kilometers an hour. Areas along Highway 3 west of Creston, including Dagley, Providence Park, will be impacted in the next hour. Well, I would assume, just based on a quick thing there, their false alarm rate would be lower the bigger the area. So let's say in the US here, what we got? Let's here's some smaller things we got going on here. All right. Here's a smaller, more typical what we're expecting size for a severe thunderstorm warning. Oh, okay. There we go. All right, and this is 10 minutes. All right. So we have a small area. That means we have to be more accurate with the forecasting. Going into Canada, if they have a bigger area. There, going back up here. There is a higher likelihood that this will be correct in a bigger area. Imagine if the entire country was swathed in a severe thunderstorm warning. Every lower 48 state. It's going to be right. Somewhere is going to have a severe thunderstorm warning if there's a potential for severe weather. Does that mean in New York we're going to get a severe thunderstorm warning compared to Oklahoma? If Oklahoma's getting it, doesn't mean New York's going to get it. But if we're under the same umbrella, that means it was 100% correct. So a bigger swath means you have a bit more wiggle room. Very interesting there. Also, it's kind of just following the top of Idaho there. Looks like we're extending the shape of the top of Idaho. And pretty quiet in our area. Storm Prediction Center showing that slight risk for today, and I don't think there's really much. Yeah, no slight risk for tomorrow or anything like that. We will get showers tomorrow. Just barely. Nothing here, as we were just mentioning. It's very quiet for the next 7 days. And Raymond, I think it was you mentioning the drought before. So in here, on the bigger scale, there's quite a bit of droughts and severe droughts out west. And in the Northeast, drought conditions are continuing. We still had that little patch there in Jersey that we talked about last time. Here, a little bit more. Going up more north into New England, we're in more severe drought than around the New York City area there. So it's been very pleasant for us, but it hasn't been for the earth. Delvin, you have to remind me how to get to the Canadian. I was like, that's a weird picture of Canada. That is not Canada. You have to remind me how to get to the drought monitor in Canada. Or is it possible from here? Do they even have a drought monitor? Oh, they do. Okay. Oh, they classify it the same way. Abnormally dry is a D0, so this feels like the exact same classification. Extreme drought. We have no exceptional droughts in Canada, though. We have some patchy areas with some extreme drought, but closer to... Oh, I can't move it. Closer to our area with the U.S.-Canadian border. Similar to what we were seeing in the U.S. side. Severe drought... moderate drought was right there. Halifax looks like they were getting up into severe drought. Alright, when was this updated? August 11th. Okay. Maybe they update it once a month instead of once a week. Alright, so let's take a peek at that satellite there. Now, we have high pressure right now, but that high pressure is going to be moving out. We have that nice swath of clear air. That's why today was a beautiful day. This cloud cover is making its way in. And that is going to be ahead of... yep, we're on the latest. Right there, high pressure. Stationary front. And we can actually see the stationary front pretty much right here. Moving a little bit more now, probably since this was issued. Oh, there we go. This was issued 22Z. We are at 1Z right now. We're not really seeing any rain because it's too far out into the ocean. But now taking a look at some of the forecast models on the good old Tropical Tidbits. There is our precipitation. So starting with the GFS. This will slowly make its way in. Nothing too much. Just around some coastal cities there. Coastal places can get some showers through the morning hours. That's really about it. It looks like for tomorrow. And then it quickly makes its way out by the end of the day. So then Thursday looks pretty good. Friday looks I even skipped through it because it looked like the same day. Thursday and Friday. There goes a high. Saturday. Now we're starting to see a little bit more. So Saturday starts out okay. We might see a little bit more showery action happening overnight Saturday into Sunday. But then it's out quickly. Nothing too bad. And then going into Monday looks pretty good, but... Oh, look at that. What was that? That is not a tropical system. Let me zoom out for you here. That is right here. And where'd that come from? Gulf of Mexico. So that followed this path right up here. So this is not... If this turns into something, it's more so a coastal storm, like a nor'easter, versus a tropical storm, because it did not form in the tropics. So since that did not form in the tropics, it's not a tropical system. Alright, so that's the GFS. Let's see what the Euro's doing. There's our system. Oh, we got little periods of rain there in the morning hours. Clears out later in the day. Starts making its way out. Thursday looks good. Friday looks good. Saturday starts good. Maybe some little showers happen there. I think that's too infrequent to say anything in particular. And then Sunday here, a little bit different. So it has coming in from Canada over the Great Lakes, Finger Lakes there, a little bit. There's that system. It does come in, but this is coming in later in the day, Monday into Tuesday. And this gives a not so nice looking day for Tuesday versus the GFS. Let me zoom back in here. Going into Tuesday. A little bit slower and less intense. So 18Z Tuesday. 18Z Tuesday. Quite a different picture, even just a week out. Icon. Let's take a peek here. All right, so it really actually the icon doesn't show any shower action happening on land, at least. A little bit more south, getting into like North Carolina. But 18Z makes its way out. Thursday, Friday looks good. Saturday looks good. Here, overnight Saturday into Sunday a little bit. But this actually looks like it's not allowing that system to come in. This is its own system. Kind of what the Euro was showing. Oh no, that's for Tuesday. So this is more intense. This neither of the forecast models had for Sunday. This is making up its own thing. Let's go back to Sunday. 21Z Sunday. 21Z Sunday. There. That's the icon. That's the Euro. And no 21Z here, but it's close enough. 0Z. Nothing. Nothing on the GFS. Minuscule on the Euro. Icon has quite an intense line there. For the NAM, let's see how far we can get. There's our little system. So that's showing some showers in the morning. And then it's out. Yeah, it lasts a little bit longer. Actually extending even into Pennsylvania. And extending right into the Boston area there. Just a little bit into the overnight hours Thursday. Then it makes its way out for a nicer day Thursday. And Friday. Saturday. And that's as far as we get. I'm not even going to show you the shorter range ones. Last thing I'll show you here. Moss data. So looking at Newark, which is typically the warmest spot in our discussion area. We got 65 for high tomorrow because we're going to have clouds with the rain. Then we go to 81, 77, 78, 85, 78, 76. With our overnight lows, 58, 62, 62, 63, 65. 63, normal's 59 for Climo, and 76. So we hover up and down right around the normal for there. Ice slip, let's see, that should be a little bit cooler going into the oceany area. So we have 67, 79, 75, 73, 78, 76. So just about average, which Climo's saying 75 there. And then overnight lows 58, 59, 59, 61, 63, 59, and 58. So pretty seasonable with the temperatures so far. White Plains will skip. Let's go up to Albany. So we go to 72, 78, 75, 74, 80, 76, 76. Climo is 72. And our lows, we're going to see 48, 53, 52, 57, 55, 52. And normal is 51. So a tiny bit above average. And Boston. All right, so for tomorrow, we're seeing 67 for the high, 76 then, 68, 72, 80, 70, 72, and Climo is 73. So that 80-degree day, definitely above average. But the other days, kind of in line with average. Sunday was just warm. And then overnight lows, we're seeing 57, 58, 61, 56, 59, 63, 57, and our Climo is 56. So, close to average there. The typical fall roller coaster. Yes, Raymond. All right. That is going to be a wrap for today. I wanted to keep it fairly short since it's just a little discussion of El Nino, La Nina stuff and why it's gotten kind of lull right now with the season. All right. So yes, a little short, but what are we at now? It is almost 9:20. Low 50s, low 70s. It seems range for temperature forecast. Yeah, everything seemed close right now in the Northeast, going into the Canadian area too. Yeah, so temperature, everything seems to be fairly stable right now, which isn't a bad thing. I don't have my radio, but even though it's calm, you should always have your emergency preparedness stuff and your emergency preparedness radio. Get it from bettersaferadio.com, where I get a little bit of kickback. You support a small business with his name's Mark. And you get emergency communication radio that has pre-programmed channels in there and NOAA weather radio frequencies as well. Here's my little plug. All right, well, Raymond, Delvin, it was a pleasure as always. I apologize for it being late and short. But other things have happened today or yesterday where I wanted to just kind of rest a little bit more because I did get a small work injury. I don't know if you could still see it. My arm is quite swollen over here. So kind of just rest because I really don't have any grip strength in my hand. We shall see how tomorrow goes. All right, well, and that's a wrap. Raymond, Delvin, thank you for joining. If you're new to the channel and you're watching now, or you're watching this after the fact, feel free to hit that subscribe button below and the little bell icon right next to that so you get notified whenever I go live like this, or I upload videos, which about a couple times a week, nothing too crazy. I used to do like one a day, but I don't have time for that anymore. Until YouTube starts paying a little bit more than zero. All right, thank you all for joining. Again, this is Chief Meteorologist Andrew Pinero. Thank you for watching, and I will see you all in that next video.